Hello indie game fans, developers do take opportunities like Gamescom to surprise release their games, so here's another lot of fantastic games and updates that are available right now. We do have to go a little bit back in time for Toree 3D, a wonderful looking 3D platformer that was released in April this year, something that I missed but is certainly worth a look, all for the low price of $1. If you have any interest at all in this genre, do pick this up, with a sequel that's coming in October as well. Announced during one of the presentations is the Fires of Industry update for the roguelite platformer 30XX. If you're not familiar, this is essentially roguelite Mega Man, down to the platforming, combat and boss arenas, where you do get some permanent upgrades as you go along. It has been in early access since February this year, with this being the first major content patch, adding a new level in the Forgotten Factory. In addition to the expected new enemies, new music, new powers and a new boss, this update adds something known as repros, which are the little floating bots that you can see, of course functioning like familiars from Isaac and adding a bunch of new functionality. Still pretty good and chugging along nicely in early access, but I'm fairly confident that this will turn out great.
Welcome to Super Animal World, home of the super animals, like this super duck who was about to be...
One of the most impressive recent titles is Super Animal Royale, finally releasing out of early access and onto consoles at the same time. But the crowning accomplishment of this developer is that they actually managed to find a niche in the Battle Royale space as a team of just 10 people. I do find it amazing that this has managed to sustain a player population in the face of the Fortnites and PUBGs of the world, where the cute but deadly aesthetic is pretty sweet. If you have not tried this, it is free to play and is monetized through cosmetics, so do take that into account, but it's an amazing accomplishment that deserves a spot. And if you're as amazed as me, smack that like button to show your support. Now hear me out, I did come across Conquest of Elysium 5 when looking at new releases of the week, but I thought that it looked a little rough, but people do seem to love it, with 300 Steam reviews as of recording, so I do think it's worth a mention. It's a turn-based strategy game that gives me a little bit of a Heroes of Might and Magic vibe, where there are 24 playable factions to choose from, where every single one of these plays differently. The game takes place on 10 different planes of existence, from the hell-like Infernal Plane to flying armies from the skies, looking like it has plenty of replay value. Yes, the visuals are not the most amazing, but it's all gameplay here, and most interestingly, this is from a team of just 2 developers who founded the company 20 years ago, making them another OG indie dev. One of the best games from last year is the cozy live sim platformer Spiritfarer, telling an emotional tale that will tug at your heartstrings, where to be honest, I was not expecting this update titled Beverly, so surprise! It adds a new spirit in the tiny owl, with presumably their own story arc, but does add new features like treasure maps, spicy food and quality of life improvements, making it worth going back to. The surprise release of PSYCRON did sneak up on me as well, since I last talked about this game in my video covering upcoming Metroidvania titles, and before I knew it, it was already released. It's a simple looking but well-made pixel art title with a sci-fi theme, of course paying tribute to Metroid, where it's set on board a research station and you have to find out what happened to the crew. Do note that it's a smaller title at a smaller price, but definitely worth a look.
Your attention please. We are now boarding the Limitless line at the Sunset Station.
A great title from earlier this year is Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, releasing the Sunset Station update, which is actually an infinite combat dungeon for you to go wild with. This is post-game content, accessible only after you beat the game, but the developers have put in the effort, remixing enemies and bosses, adding something new named trinkets, as well as writing dialogue for familiar characters, extending the life of this fantastic Zelda-like title. Oh my goodness, if you love cute and chill interactive experiences, I definitely recommend Townscaper, the self-described instant town building toy. While away the hours just spent tinkering and building towns, where the sound effects in this game makes building so very satisfying and relaxing. Do note that it's not a game per se, but a toy as described, so there are no set objectives or the like, but to see your creations at the end of the day is just pure bliss. A title with a tricky release was Lamentum, initially scheduled for August the 31st, but the publisher just went ahead to release it on the 28th, a Saturday, during an online event, so surprise, I guess? This is a pixel art survival horror title that I've long had my eye on, despite horror games not really being my genre of choice, because I do think that it looks fantastic. You play as a man searching for a cure for a deadly illness plaguing his wife, venturing to the spooky Growl House mansion in New England in order to do so. However, what is there is just one horrifying monster after the next, definitely having some original Resident Evil vibes due to the location. If anyone told you that pixel art is not scary, I would point them to this game, but it certainly is for fans of the genre. The no-brainer pick for this video is Monster Sanctuary Legendary Keeper Update, a significant content update that brings the monster taming Metroidvania to version 1.2. Like Spiritfarer, this is also one of the best games of 2020, where the developers have very kindly been putting out free content for the endgame, New Game Plus, and so forth. The main feature here, of course, is the Hall of Legendary Keepers, featuring Kickstarter backers, where all 14 of them have built their own team for you to battle against, as well as a host of other new features, taking the #1 spot. For more monster taming titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.